We are now live. Hello, we are the Mad Scientists. I'm Mad Frankie. This is Violet Eagle. We're back to the right side again. And together we make the Mad Scientists. There we go.
There we go.
Okie dokie. Now you're going to be doing something in the background while I'm doing this, or you're going to be doing nothing, or reading a book or something, or what?
I'm going to be watching you and doing a little watercoloring.
Okay.
So we're
Well,
going
mind
to
you, we can see
craft.
what you're doing. These are the wisps. There's only two of them. Where's the other one? Other wisp. Where are you, other wisp? Come on, I know there's three. Oh, there it is. No, it isn't. Oh, there's two wisps there. I've got all those and two wisps. I don't know what happened to the third one. God, isn't it great? You just think you're all prepared and then suddenly a wisp goes away. Whatever. Probably turn out to be behind here somewhere or something. Never mind. Probably won't need it. Let me find the page again that I just lost. Skies. I thought it'd be a nice idea to do some skies. Because I don't have much practice at doing skies. We don't have a great deal of difference in skies. Or at least we're so used to it that we don't look. The brushes over there. Pen out of the way. In fact, I think I put the brushes in there. Because these are the newer ones in here. I put them in a really nice little silver pot. Well, silver coloured metal anyway. And we've got some water here. And colours. Let's get this one open. Rosa Gallery. Why not? I'm still got the my dad's paints over there, so I've got both available. And they've both got their palettes. So I've got a palette for each. And I can open this one as well. There. And I don't know what I've done with the flipping insert for this one. Isn't that always the way? You think you're organised and no, you're not in the least. I did have it behind here. But of course it's not behind here now. Never when you want them. Oh well, never mind. I'll just guess as per usual. In fact, it might be an idea. And I've got two different sorts of paper here. One is the one I was using last time, which is the horse paper, which is 300 GSM. And this is also 300 GSM. So it's a new pad, newish pad. It's this one. Watercolour, 300 GSM. Grain thin. Just means it's not too lumpy. And it's cold pressed. So £140, A5. And that's that sheet there. But this is just the same, except it's the horse paper. You know the one I mean, the one with the picture of the horse on the front. That one. So it's also £300, but this is A4, and I've just cut it into two. Well, it was cut into four, and the other two pieces were these ones. This side, I've just cut them off, that's all, that we did the other day. So that to fill that space, I used the A5 to fill that space. So that's actually separate under there. So, and in fact, I might put yes, I'm going to put another piece there of this tape because this goes up to the edge of this piece, and I want to have a white line on this one as well, if it works. Right. So I'm going to stick that one next to it. I do have a piece of paper there, if necessary. I'll start with this one, see how it goes. So, I want some water first. We'll see whether it tells us to put water on. It often does, it usually does. Split brush technique, page 25. Where's page 25? There's no numbers on these pages. Can anybody see any numbers on these pages? Oh, there are. 46. Why can't they put the numbers on all the pages? 35. Split brush. The brush is encouraged to break up into a number of points. The trick is to find a brush that will readily do this. I find the Chinese brushes work best to get the hairs to splay out. Dab the brush into the mixing tray, then dab it up and down on the paper to create a texture of foliage or broken cloud. Rotate the brush continually in your hand to avoid making a repetitive pattern. Avoid having too much paint on the brush, as this will produce large blots of paint. Needless to say, this is not a job for your finest sable. It is best to reserve a brush especially for the task. I should hope so. Well, painting on the ultramarine blues painting on the wet surface of Naples yellow. Painting wet into wet. Big part painting skies. So that's pretty much what I thought. Like I said, it often is. So I want to try this one because it's a beautiful sky. The base wash in the painting on the left was a mix of raw sienna with a touch of Scarlet Lake, merging into some Windsor blue. Okay, have I got those colours there? I very much doubt it. But here's my dad's paints. Have we got, what did you say? Scarlet Lake. I have got a Scarlet Lake. Good Lord, I thought I had in this one. And it's that one. Righty-ho, all the way around. So, in this, that's the Scarlet Lake. That's Windsor Red, Scarlet Lake, and Chrome Orange. Good-o. So it's this one I want. It's looking a bit mucky. Might need a bit of a colour. Ooh, yes. That's what you need husbands for. Big, strong hands. Open that, dear.
No, not just that, but yeah, okay.
Really? You have some other uses?
Yeah, tall shelves, the high up shelves. I'm short.
Right. Let's see what comes of this. Now I'm going to use this one. This is a new brush. This is number 10. Yes, it's a round brush. It needs washing. So it's still got a nice shape to it. And I've got a lot of wet on it. So I'm just going to dab off some. I ought to have brought the roll of tissue over as well. By the way, I'm not wearing my headphones today, so we'll see how that works out. Because that's why Violet's been all quiet. Right, I've just rinsed the colour out of that brush. Now I want the raw sienna, which is that last one there. Not much of that. A bit more. Yeah, the little rattly paint pans jiggling about like mad. Right. So we want to wash, so I'm adding more water to it. So it appears to be sort of, oh no. That was a hair. I don't want a hair. These are new brushes. Well, they're not going to get a great review if they're going to keep doing that. So this goes all the way down to there. We're leaving the blue pure at the top. At the top of the, oh, you can't quite see, I beg your pardon. At the top of this piece here. But this seems to go all over. So I'm going to, oh, I nearly put that paintbrush in my tea. I'm just going to grab a bit more of the Scarlet Lake and just add some touches here and there. And then I'm going to move it about with a damp paintbrush. And then I'm going to get some, this looks to me like Windsor blue. That's the Windsor blue, I think. Windsor blue. I've got Windsor blue, haven't I? Unknown blue and unknown blue. I see. Which is Windsor? That one. Now, would you believe it? So Windsor blue is that one. So they're talking about this one. So that must be the ultramarine. Are they sure? That's ultramarine. I'm not sure that this is terribly into some Windsor blue. While the paper was still wet, ultramarine blue was brushed on to give the dark underside of the clouds. But I think Windsor blue, from the look of these colours here, Windsor blue is going to be darker than French ultramarine. I've put some on the palette. Let's try some of the French ultramarine. It's that one. Put some of that on the palette. No, I'm right. The French ultramarine is lighter than the Windsor blue. So I'm putting the French ultramarine up here. I don't suppose it's right.
And I'm struggling with getting the right colors I want for particular watercolor painting. I'm struggling with the Kuretake set because the palette doesn't match what I think it should.
Well, have you made a little swatch of them?
And that's what I was just thinking. I've got these little cards. I think I'm going to keep a card on the side that I could do a practice swatch before I hit it with mine.
Well, that's why I made these, because a lot of these of my dad's paintings were not labelled. They were so old that the label had disappeared. Like there's unknown blue there and unknown blue there, you know. Yeah. That could be anything. So that's why I painted little patches of it so that I could see what colour it looks like on, and it's on decent paper too. So I know it's like that on decent paper. So that was French ultramarine. Let's get some more of the Windsor blue. So the Windsor blue has been dotted about like this into different areas near the bottom. So we want a line of it still there. And then another line of it there. And going up a bit there. Now this is more pigment filled, so it's not moving so much. See, if you get your paintbrush with more pigment on it than there is water, so it's less damp, even though this under stuff is damp, it should not flood so much into it. It should create a better line, you know, because there's more paint in here making it damp rather than wet. So you're putting damp into wet. This is what I've been learning about recently. Right. And if I put this piece on here again, I can maybe straighten that out a little bit. Yeah, that's interesting anyway. So that was an exercise. So I would quite like to try that one at the top now. Now that's harder for you to see. Let's see if I can put this underneath this, like that. And then put this on top of the book, like that. So then we can see this one here, just about. You see it? Just about see it. So this one is, oh, it's not saying what the different colours are. We'll just have to guess then. We'll just have to guess what these are. There's no instructions, so let us guess. So I've got this one and I've got that one. So if one colour is closer to these than these, because there's some more different greens, turquoises and things in there that I don't really have in here. I've got quite a lot of greens, but they're not that green. Not that turquoisey green, sorry. That turquoisey green. The ones... It looks rather blue in the camera, but I promise you it's turquoise, a greeny blue. But none of these in here are in any way close to it. So I'm going to use that one, the turquoise. Why not? Why not? It's a nice colour anyway. So I think I'm going to dry that first, because that way it might not buckle so much when I add water to this area. Now that really did flatten down quite a bit. I don't think it's quite dry. It's still a little bit damp here, but it's flat now. This, however, keeps coming up. I press that down and it'll pop up again in a minute. Oh well, nothing I can do about it. I'm not
Maybe
sure that
you
this.
got some water or something underneath it.
Yeah, you can see where it's gone underneath there, but I don't think the washi tape is quite such a great idea as I thought it might be. And they're all this thin, the washi tapes I got. They're up here. See them?
Yep, I see them.
Same thickness as these really thin ones. So I'm going to use the turquoise in this palette. I'm not putting water on first. Like I didn't put water on first that time, did I? Or I did, didn't I? Yeah, the brush is wet, so I'll do it without doing that. So there's a sort of turquoisey cloud there, and a turquoisey cloud there. There's a, let me put some in there with a lot of water. There's a turquoisey bit here. I think I've done this the wrong way round. But that's me all over. I get attracted by one colour and I can't even think about any others. That all merges together, so it seems. And I haven't put the pale colour in, so I think it's a bit paler than that. Maybe, oh no. I need the other paint pot. That one's now saturated with blues. I need this little one at the back. And I'm going to mix that with a little bit of that. Is that the aureolin? I think it might be. And a fair bit of water. A little bit in there. And there. There. Yeah, definitely should have done it the other way around. We'll do it the other way around next time. And I think I might need to let this colour dry before putting the blue on top, frankly. Oh, I didn't want that there. In the picture, it doesn't have that there. It has more of this turquoise. So we want a deeper colour here.
Your very bottom is off camera a bit.
Sorry.
There you go. Thank you.
I've got to move the. I'm afraid you won't be able to see the reference. I've got to see the reference. Yes, I definitely think that needs to be dried first. And now I want some of that Windsor blue, which I liked in the other one. I'm not terribly keen on this brush. Fumui. Yes, it appears to be shedding some hairs. So there's a darker blue bit there and a darker blue bit there and a darker blue bit here. And there almost seems to be about 6 or 7 layers. So I think next time we need to do 6 or 7 layers of it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my piece of tissue. I'm going to go over that, and then I'm going to soak a lot of that up, go over that, soak a lot of that up, and that, because I think that should be paler. It's a little better, isn't it? It's a little closer. Oh, you can't see it, but it is a little closer to the reference, which is almost white in that picture, but it's a little better. So I'll let that dry. And remove that bit of paper, which I wish I hadn't put there now, because I've got a blue blob. Never mind, I'm going to do another one of those, so it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to add a little bit of water around the edges there. And I'm going to add a little bit more of the Windsor blue, which I managed to blot out. I'd like to reinforce just there. And there. There. Yes. So we'll leave that one for now. I've now got yellow painted on my finger because it ran on the palette down to the corner. So I'm going to soak that up so it doesn't get mixed in with blues and turn into a green I don't want. And I've got to go and get that roll of tissue. And I've got a nice fresh roll. So I'm going to do that sky again, but this time I'm going to put the yellow on first over here and see what happens. See if that's a much better idea. So I'll put the yellow on first, even though I've got green water. So what I want to try and do is, I keep trying to do this every time I paint. I try to keep one pot of water for rinsing the brush. Now, and the other pot of water for picking up clean water, if you see what I mean. So I've got pots of water that get steadily dirtier and dirtier, and one that stays a bit okay until I forget and put the brush in it. So yellow on here. So I want a mix of that yellow and that yellow next to it, which seem to be called, all right, I don't know what I've done with that palette. It'll be behind there. Yes, it is. So these are the Rosa Gallery, and what I used was cadmium yellow light and cadmium yellow deep mixed together because I want a more sort of sunny colour. That's better. So I want to put that over the top here. Gosh, it's quite dark, isn't it? Let me add some water to it. That I did not want. Don't want green. Really don't want green. That will come off this piece of washi tape in the middle there. Right, I've rinsed my brush with just water on it. So I'm wafting that up. Wafting. New technical term. Wafting. Oh, God. Try again. It's because the part of the brush gets into that blue, I think. Beware the blue. I've just put that little bit there, and now I'm rinsing the brush in the pale clear water and just wafting it up like I was before. Don't want hard edges, so I'm just melting those hard edges. But the colour does go all the way down. I've got a remnant of a blue bit there, but I don't think it's going to matter because there's going to be blue over there anyway. So let's dry that and see what happens. You know, I don't know who done it, but I've got a pile of glitter on the floor and a black glitter pot looking innocently up above it. Yeah, somebody knocked it off. Probably me. But you never know. Now then, so I'm going to use the same colour. That's the turquoise. So the turquoise comes down here. You remember that this stuff always dries lighter than it looks on here, and I should flipping hope so because I'm doing this much too dark. There's a good old ridge down there. And we've got the blue patch there, which I will put in with some blue in a moment. And we've got a pale green patch there. And a much paler green patch there. And a much paler green patch there. Only it's really not green. So if I soak that up now, that should remove some of the yellow. The other way of doing it, of course, is to mask out shapes before you begin. More pulling out than putting in. And I want to pull some of that out as well. And then I want to go to the Windsor blue, but I want it a bit paler than that. So what else can I use instead? Prussian blue, cerulean blue. I could use a bit of the cerulean just to see if that would do it. Let me move that one over the way a bit so I can see my dad's paints again. I'm thinking of this cerulean blue here because I think that might, or the Prussian blue there. So we'll try the cerulean first. That's one of my new paint pans I put in because the colour that was originally there was so low that you could barely see it in the corners. So good to be recording this. I'm quite liking this. I'd like to know how I did it. Right. So I'm going to try the Windsor Blue now to darken up this bit a bit on the edges. So that's that one. By the doubles. Good. So I want to patch in this corner. There's a scraggy little patch there. And there's another patch down here. Edging up to there. And this is sort of melding into there. And we've got a little bit there as well. And that bit isn't exactly that. So I wonder if I could water that down a bit with some water. And perhaps wash over there. And over there. Then take this and lift it out again. Oh, I like that. Oh, I like that, yes. That's softened that up nicely. And I want to soften that a little bit as well, but not completely, so I'm not taking all of it out. I want to soften this one down a bit. It's a little bit too severe, so I'll add a bit more water to that. And we've got another loose hair. Dear Fu Mui, not impressed. I tell you what. Let's have a go with a medium quill. This is an Artway Wiltshire, England brush, and it's a number 5. And you need to break up this because it's got glue on it. So you rinse it in clear water. Now, this is not the most expensive brush. That's not coming until just before my birthday. So it'll be a birthday present from Violet.
I'm excited for when you get to use them.
So am I. So I want some cerulean again. And I want another lid because I want to put some more water in with it. Get a bit more paint. That's better. Right, now I've got a little amount of the paint with some water. And I'm going to go over the edges of this. Like that. And I'm going to use the tip because I want some little... I don't want it to be completely... It's really the wrong way. I want it to be more sort of that way. Well... Oh, that's not so bad anyway. You won't see it from where you are up there, but I'll show you in close up later. But I've managed to get some very tiny little details with this very tiny tip. See how it goes to this absolutely wonderful point.
Well, and I was watching you do that, and I was wondering, could you do that with those prongly brushes you showed the other day?
These ones, the combs.
Yes,
you could. Absolutely. So let's try a bit with that then, shall we? Thing is, you don't need to. If you overload it, you reduce the comb. The hairs cling together. So don't put too much liquid in there. This has got a nice shape anyway. I've got the nice raggedness around the edges of the cloud, but I want to add a bit more here. So we don't want to put too much because that would make it look too much like trees. Little bits is fine. Where's a bit more cerulean? A bit more water. Good. Yes, that's giving me some edgy looks. And if I'm not getting the edgy looks I want, I would need to dry the paper and start again on a dry paper. So you could get very fine distant clouds with that. Very nice. You know, you sometimes get that sort of look like let me a bit more paint. Which my mum used to call a herringbone sky. Like the herringbone pattern. Like that. You see that?
Yes.
Just corner there, yes, you can see what I mean. That's what I'm trying to create here. I think that's what skies need, a little bit more detail. I've noticed since I had my operation, my eye operation, and got new lenses, when I look at clouds, I can see them in so much detail, even the really far away ones. And it's just so wonderful. I think I need a bit darker colour there. I'm going to try for some of the Prussian blue. That's manganese blue as Luke. That's that one. Yeah, I want a bit of the Prussians. Prussians are coming. And you can get the same kind of action with this quill, but it's going to be much bigger pieces. But then I did get a smaller quill or two. This one is a number 2, so that quill is quite a bit smaller. I've got to deglue it. What they do is they shape them with gum arabic, liquid gum arabic, and that way they can shape them into a particular shape, like this lovely round pointy shape, like that. So it's a beautiful round. And you get some paint on, and I want a bit more than that. This is the Prussian blue. I want a bit more water in the Prussian blue as well. So I've still got a lovely point. I mean, I went like this. You see what I did? I went like that with it, and that's made it round. And I lift it up, and it's pointy again. Isn't that marvellous? So if you rule it slightly like that, very gently, you get a really beautiful point. And this is something that I have longed for such a long time. So now I've got a lovely point there. So I want the cloud to merge into one cloud, but I want the edges to look a bit ragged, which is what I'm trying to do here. Now, if you're doing this and you want to do this way, you're never going to do it like that. You could do it with the other hand like that, or quite simply, you could just see how shifting everything out the way for a major upheaval. Pick up your palette, block or whatever it is you've got it in, and then go the other side like that. And I think it looks better if you do it at the edges like that and not like that, because that would mean they'd be going upwards, and that's on a different sort of cloud formation. It would be not quite so natural. You're inclined to get things compressing in the middle, so you've got flatter regions on top and underneath. You only get the featheriness at the edges. Well, that's what I see anyway. And we've got some here. Let's make it uneven but pointy in places. So I've gone completely off what this was, and I'm just doing what I fancy now. Adding my own textures to it that I fancy. And some few more there. A bit more darkness there. But these are going to meld into each other because this is so wet here. So it's not going to work quite so well there. Perhaps if I put a little bit there just to indent the edges a little bit. I don't want to change the shape too much because it's quite a nice shape. Just want to make it a bit less smooth going around the edges. And a little less green if I add some more of that Prussian blue. It's going to darken it up a fair bit. I want a bit more water with it. And I'm going to turn it round again. So I can get my brush pointing the other way. Like on this edge. Trying to get it uneven, because you don't want it all to be in a little line. You want some to poke out a bit more than others, because clouds are more inclined to do that kind of thing. I'm going to add a bit more colour in the middle with a bit more water and hope that this will meld a bit more. A bit more water. There we are, that's nice. A bit more water. That's lovely. That's going to do it nicely. So I can always do it this way round. So if you're left-handed, it's much easier to just move it to the other hand. Or ambidextrous, some artists are. Lucky little beggars. And then I want to do a few more down here. Fading back to this bit. And then that bit. Luckily, it's quite an easy stroke to make, and I can still do it with my clunky little left hand. Left-handed painting. Hey, that's a new title. And carry on down here. I do like the little featheriness of that, but I think it's going in the direction I don't want. So I'm going to go up a bit and up a bit and more colour, more colour, more water, more colour. more on those edges. That's looking quite nice. I wonder, tip that up a bit to let that middle piece, let the colour flood a bit more downwards, because it's all settling at this end and I'd rather it went down the other end. Bit more here, bit more there, and I want to break up that line as well. It's a bit too smooth. So I'm going to move this over a bit. Sorry about that. So I can get some more colour down there. A bit more on my brush. Still the Prussian blue. I'm liking the Prussian blue quite a lot. So obviously these clouds are a lot darker than you would normally think, because I'm enjoying the Prussian blue so much. That's me. I always use up Prussian blue and indigo, don't I? Faster than I can resupply myself. Let's leave that. I mean, we've got some interesting texture here. I think that needs drying and perhaps another application. This may need another application around the edges, but I think these little edges here are really looking quite nice. So I'm going to rinse that in there because it's already blue water. That's the kind of sky that might look quite nice with that bird in the water and the bench, or even without the bench.
Oh, yeah. The first painting you did.
Yeah, the rubbishy one. That's drier now. I wouldn't say it was dry, but it's drier. Fairly dry anyway. That still feels a little on the cool side, but that's okay. Because what I was thinking of was rinsing the brush in the clear water. Now, what I was thinking of was doing the same thing with the edge of this nice pointy brush. That could be quite nice. I was thinking of doing some in here as well. Leave it a few moments and then lift out. And I think if I can change to a smaller brush, and I'm thinking, what about this one? This one is our number 1. That's a nice one. It's got a nice edge to it, nice point. Drop the paintbrush. Not in the tea, unusually. That reminds me, tea. Let me just have a little sip before it turns blue. See, it's got some blue on the edge there.
Oh, silly girl.
Well, I'm going to do it the other way. Sorry. These top bits here. Lovely. So that's given me a different shade on there, as if there's a lighter cloud a bit further forward. Now, if I was to keep doing that, not with this big brush, which isn't all that big, but with a giant brush, which is definitely that big, but the one I'm just using, doing it again in the same area. Where I've already lifted some out. You know, you got to wait a minute or two for the water to soak in enough to re-release the paint, if it's going to. And I think I'd like to do a bit more over there as well. Again, wait a moment or two. Now this is a slightly different effect from this one, because this one was more the ragged edges, which I love as well, but lovely. That's made it a nicer shape. That's lovely. I like that. I mean, you could go over with gouache, white gouache, but that would be too harsh. And I rather like this little delicateness. That I'm getting from repeated lifting out. I don't know how long you could keep lifting till you don't really get much result. Probably about now. But yes, that's rather good. I wonder what about this piece, because that's got a different colour down. Let's see if we can't move a little of that. And I'm going to do some on the other edge, so I need the other hand, or to turn the board around. Okay, let's give it a go. Oh, it's a little bit. You have got a bit of it out. Good, good. Let's try again, just down here. Ow. Oh, I've dropped the paintbrush on the floor. Pick it up. Clean it again, because it's mostly dog hair down there. Certainly always seems to be more down there than I thought there was. Right. If you wait too long, it starts to dry and you don't get so much lifting out. That's rather nice. That's delicate. I like that. I'd like to do a bit more here. And a little bit just here. Some from there. Yes, that's lovely. And a little bit from here. I don't know if that's quite ready yet. Yeah, go on. Yes, a little bit there. I might try again with a bit more there. I do like little details like this. I don't know. I mean, I'm not following the pattern. I'm not looking at the reference. I'm just doing things that look quite good over there, over here. Come on, soak in, soak in. There's a nice little colour. It's still quite glistening. I've got a moment or two yet to let it soak in. I'm probably inclined to put this down a bit too soon, but that's my fault. Lovely. That's a nice delicate little bit. There we go. I think I'll leave that now, because that was quite fun. All I want to do is something here. So I think I might continue on with what I've got here, which means rescuing back that little damp wisp. And I want the... That wasn't cerulean blue, was it? It was something else, and I've lost the little thing again. Oh, there we go. No, it isn't. There, behind it. It's manganese blue I was using all that time. I thought it was cerulean blue because the cerulean blue was an almost empty one next to it. So there we are. I've loaded up the paintbrush with a little bit of that. And I haven't got any water on here, so we're doing something different. So I've got to build up some of the middle. Now this is the angled wisp. You can see that it's slanting that way a little bit. Yeah.
It's got to be awkward to paint with that. I mean, if you were going to cut those into 4, you could have turned that board around and just worked the other direction, you know.
Yeah, could have done. Yeah, certainly could. I could do that now, look. But then you might not be able to see it because it'll be down here from... Oh, yeah, you can see it. There you go. What about that? I have no idea how high these clouds are. If anybody technical wants to know, tough. You could just sit here for hours doing this. I'd like a bigger one of these. This is a number 10 over 0. Doesn't look all that small. What's that other one there? That one is a 10 over 0. I think the other one's a 10 over 0 as well. It's just a different shape. Yeah, see, this is a filbert 10-0. That's a slant, that one. And this one is a flat. Filbert, flat, slant. Because this one goes in a arch shape with the middle prong taller than the other two. This one is a flat with everything flat. And this one is the staggered, slanted one. And I like the staggered one more than the other two. For this, at least. I mean, I probably like that more for something else. The grasses would be brilliant. But it's nice to have something that's not all the same length. Because you don't have to do much yourself. You just...
Little bird feet.
Yeah, bird foot. There you go, bird foot. Or as my mum calls these, herringbones. I do like that word. I don't know if she was right and that's what it is called, or if she just... Her mum told her it was that and she'd always call it that. It's quite likely. And then it makes it fairly easy to still do it with the other hand. The non-dominant hand. Not a problem, really. Awkward, but doable. Of course, if I was painting on a little piece this size without all the other bits attached to it, or it attached to a board, it'd be quite easy to just turn the piece around. And I'm getting rounded flat areas there, so I don't want that. So put my bird's feet on it. I like this because it's not such a huge brush that it puts an even print like that. I mean, you can get that if you're deliberate, but I mean, that looks like a three-toed blue-footed booby bird or something. But you don't have to.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah.
Well, I've stuck for a reference there for a moment, but it came to me. It's blue-footed booby bird. There are such things. David Attenborough did a thing about it.
Russ has a screensaver on his computer monitor, and he has a blue-footed booby bird that shows up every now and then.
There you go.
He chose it because he likes that bird.
Yeah. Now, if I had a bigger one of these, I'd like one about sort of 3 times the size of that. And then I would go over some areas and make some really big ones. I did try to get some when I went into the Hobbycraft today, but they said, oh no, we haven't got anything like that. So one just has to continue on with one's little dabbing motions until one has filled almost the entire page. It's a nice shortcut, but it makes me want another one. Shortcut brushes. I'd really like the fan brush, the fan wisp, or rake or comb. There's 4 words for it. There's wisp, rake, comb, or some makers call it a grainier brush. I think it's a particular make that calls it grainier, but I don't know. There could be more than one that calls it that. Well, I think it's about time to start using some different colour. Let's have a look at this and see if there's anything here I could add. That was manganese blue. Well, I've got unknown blue. What about unknown blue? It looks awfully like ultramarine, but I don't think it's quite. No, it's not as dark as ultramarine. It's an old paint of my dad's. I don't know what it is. It could be an ultramarine, looking at the colour now on there. I think the mixing of different colours is going to make it more interesting, but only very slight differences while still being in the blue, if you see what I mean. I don't think I want to go as far as to add some purple to it. I think that would be a bit too far. Possibly adding a little pink to it once everything else is dried. That might work, because it is supposed to be a sky after all. See, with such a small brush, even the back is giving me some nice shapes, rather like the quill brush was giving me on the forward stroke. You know, like giving me this end. At the back of this, I'm getting a point at the back as well. 3 toes at the front and a point at the back. I think it seems to be important to keep this on the same level shape. You know, not that way, because you wouldn't have clouds pointing that way, but that way. That's what I mean by level shape. Level the shape. Yeah, nonsense. But you know what I mean. I was doing it again then, going off the level, and it shows on it. You look at it and you think, that's not right. It is nice to leave some of the white spaces in between. That would work the same way if you'd already gone over this with a pale yellow, like we did on that one. Or that one. So you've got a bit of pale yellow coming through from there. It's nice when the brush dries out a little as well, and you get a less precise shape. And I do think it's necessary to get rid of some of the light, because otherwise you're going to end up with a mainly white sky, and I don't think that would be a good idea. It's likely to be a lot of white in a sky of this brilliant blue, but there's also just as much likelihood to be a lot more blue. I'm going to go across here with it. And build it up a bit more here. A bit more of a base. Yes, I could go over this with a bigger brush, but I'm enjoying this. It's quite zen doing it like this, because I'm not doing it with any great pretense at precision. And of course the paper's quite bumpy, so I'm not going to get precision anyway. Step back and look at the whole thing, and there's a big gap over here, which I'd like to fill in. With some more paint. Yes, I'm covering up some of the previous patterning. Let me put that down for a sec. Now I know what I'm doing for a while. And I'm going to go back there and sharpen that up a bit. And I'm going to add some more down here a bit. other hand. This is something to do when you're not really sure what you want to do, you know, haven't been deeply inspired by something, which happens to me a lot, especially lately. I think it's the uprush of Christmas. We're nearly there now, aren't we? A couple of days and we will be there, and it'll be gone, and it'll be such a relief.
Well, there's still, around here, there's still New Year's parties and celebrations. But yeah,
No, I know.
this is a very good thing to do. Calming, relaxing, peaceful.
Mm-hmm. I want light white bits, but I don't want a lot of it. So I'm trying to just break it up a bit. So I think there's a bit too much at the moment. Now I want to have a go. I want one more bit over here, and then I want to have a go with some yellow. So I'm going to have to dry this. Yep, I'm going to have to dry it. That's kind of fun too, drying it, because it's almost like doing the reverse of embossing, because you're taking the shine off instead of putting it on when you emboss. Now I'm going to do the same thing again, but I'm going to mix me up a little pale yellow. I'm just trying to find somewhere to mix it. I've got both of these flipping things with blue in them. Let me find a big brush and see if I can't rinse this out. That's a lovely angled flat brush, that one. I'm quite happy with these new, new brushes I got. They are rather nice. And yes, P, I'm going to keep them as only for watercolour. So we've got the same brush. And I'm going to dip it into that yellow. I think it's lemon yellow. Don't have much of that left. Did I order some more? I think I've got a little pan. Not much. I can always squeeze some out into there, can't I? You can do that with tube colours. Ew, that's horrible. Where's my tissue? That's nasty. I think I hadn't cleaned my brush out enough. Or perhaps the yellow wasn't clean enough. That's a good point. Possibly. So if I can add some little touches here and there, just a little bit. And lower down in the sky, where it's a little warmer sort of colour. I think that's about enough, actually. I don't want to go overboard with it. Heat it again. Hotsy, hotsy. Actually, before I do that, just want to do some more here. A little bit there, showing through. And a little bit more over here. Yeah, that'll do. Here we go. Oh, sorry about that. Yes, do try not to heat your fingers while you're doing this. I just caught my second but last finger on that one. So that's not too bad. Now, these are the wrong way around. That's a better way around. I'm going to cut this one in the middle. And now that one. Now you can do 4 like that. Not too bad within the time. I'm quite happy with these. I like to look at these two and see the differences. I mean, they both started out from the same reference, but they've diverged somewhat. Interesting, interesting. Those are nice. This is different again. It's the bottom one. The first one I did. Oh, let me get those up so you can see them a bit better, as in at all. This one is slightly like that one, but not a lot. This one isn't like anything. And both of these two are based on that one.
On what one? Oh, the one above. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's way up there. Okay. All right.
So and this one isn't based on anything at all, and I think that's quite nice.
Just having fun.
Exactly. Just having fun. Well, I've recently found an interesting chap doing pen and ink. And you know, I was talking about pareidolia earlier. And he's also seemed to start some of them based on automatism, which is where you just do stuff, you know, barely looking kind of thing. And then you look at it and see what you could add. I got a moment.
Well, that's kind of like why I like Carla Sondheim. She throws down blobs of paint and then creates little creatures out of them. I have her book even.
Yeah, something in that sort of vein. This guy was gifted some old vintage pens, and he tried to clean them up. And one of them he was quite enamored of because it's got a nice spring in it, in the nib. and he was demonstrating it on some watercolor paper, saying how you could sort of scratch it. And when you do that, you get a good flick with a lot of ink in there, he wasn't sort of draining any off when he was dipping the ink. He was just going dip and then
I see.
in the paper, like bending the nib and flicking it up like that.
Oh, I'd have to put plastic down and protect my surface.
Oh yeah, you'd have to surround things, and when you do that, it scratches and it spatters some ink up. And he did that quite a bit, and then he went and got another nib and began to do things with it, sort of putting little lines and little curves and bits here and there. And then he did another lot where he was showing you the different sort of marks you could use. He had some really interesting marks that he showed you, because it wasn't just dots and lines. It was like a line like that and another line going around close to it, another line going around close and then going somewhere else, making another loop, and it was really interesting to watch him. I can't remember his name. I'll see if I did save the video I was watching in Watch Later or in Craft or something, one of my private folders. I'll go and find it and show it to you, and perhaps we could link it in this one. Yeah, the reason I mentioned it is because I'm hoping to have a go with that.
Okay.
Because I've got some vintage pens and I've got some old nibs. I don't know whether I can pair them up, or I've no idea how to clean them, but I've got lots of pens that I'm sure I could do something with. If nothing else, I could probably do some flicking with something like a paintbrush, like one of these.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
So, I mean, it doesn't have to be a pen. It's just a method of starting point, I just thought it was really interesting. And, I mean, you could do the same thing with something like a fan brush like that. I'm sure you could. I had no idea how to get this fan brush off. Looks like it's well stuck down. I just picked up Hobbycraft at the same time as I got the paper. Well, I was just going to show you what I meant.
Okay.
So you could go like that with the fan brush, you see? Flicking it up. And you could flick paint up like that. Or ink. But wouldn't that be lovely? It's a beautiful brush. It's an Aquafine Dalerone, number 6. My other one was more like this, and I've got little white ones as well, which are no longer quite so white. But this one, quite stiff. It's not really a paintbrush at all. It's nylon and obviously quite stiff. But that might flick really well. It's just, I'm thinking on my head here. Off my head, probably. Anyway, that's something I'd quite like to explore next time. Remind me of that when I'm going, I can't think what to do. Because I've thought of something. I'm going to have another look at that guy. He's got a shortish name. Like Paul Bob or Bob Thing or something. I'll link to him anyway. He's really quite expressive when he explains things and goes into the depths of things and stuff. Don't necessarily say he's right about everything, but interesting anyway. Interesting. Okie dokie. Well, that's all I've got for today. Have you managed to do anything? Oh, lovely.
Well, I was yesterday watching P. I gave it a try. Christmas trees. I posted it in Makers. And then while you were busy, I did this.
Lovely. I do like that one.
And then this one.
Uh-huh.
Now, Uda, if you look in Makers, Uda posted one that she did, and I just mimicked hers.
I see. Okay. I shall have to have a look at that.
Yeah, I really liked it, so I tried to mimic it. So I credit Uda with inspiring me here. And this is just because P was saying just let it flow, just be whimsy and whatever and let it flow. So that's what I went with.
Lovely.
It's hard.
Lovely.
It's hard because my hand jerks, but okay, the echo is horrible,
Yeah.
so we're going to say goodbye.
Right, we are. We're going to say bye-bye. And we are back to end stream. So let's do the little doodah.
Okay.
And here we go. End stream. End stream. Bye.